The House of Representatives on Tuesday asked President Muhammadu Buhari to appear before it and address Nigerians on the spate of insecurity across the country. The House said failure by the President to explain the issues raised by the Legislative House would confirm the opinion of Nigerians that the administration had failed in its responsibility to protect lives and property. The President had been summoned. Will the issue and the rippling effects be resolved? Well, I do not know. Joining me in the studio this evening to have this conversation, Ugochukwu Ikeako. He's a political analyst. It's good to have you join us, Ugo.
Thank you for having me.
We also have Dixon Osaje. He's a security expert. It's good to have you join us, Dixon. All right. So, I mean, gentlemen, we know that this is not an issue that is far-fetched. We all live on planet Earth, especially in this country. And we've heard of all the drama that has been happening in the space of 1 week, if not 2 weeks, going on 2 weeks. Now, for Governor Aminu Masari of Katsina State has lamented that bandits have taken over his state. He actually said that, you know, they don't even stop at kidnapping people on the streets. They go to your house, take you from your house, and, you know, do whatever they like. And sometimes they end up killing these people. So you're a security expert, and I'm wondering, we're still trying to deal with Zamfara. Here we are, Katsina is saying, I mean, the Zamfara state governor decided that he was resigning as the chief security officer. Do we see Masari doing the same thing?
You see, we need to understand one fact. When governors begin to call themselves as chief security officer, that word is so heavy. By right, and what's happening now, the commissioner of police is supposed to be the chief security of the state, because the state governor has no sense of security applications, has no reasoning about security, architecture, and everything.
But it's also part of his responsibility to protect lives and property.
Yeah, it's part of his responsibility. Because the way we are practicing our politics now, the state governor cannot even give commissioner of police an order. That is to tell you how bad it is. The state governor in the state cannot even give the commissioner of police order to carry out security instructions. The police commissioner has to take order from Abuja. Okay, looking at the spate of insecurity in the country now, it's really, really worrisome, and it's beginning to look as if there are fogs of war, because for any country to go into war, these are the symptoms we usually experience, and it's a worrisome situation. I want to believe that we will get out of this situation.
How do we get? I mean, I like, don't get me wrong, I like optimism in cases like this. But there are too many pockets of violence, and they're happening back to back, and they seem to have also reprisals.
The space. You know, the last time I came here, we spoke about our border security. I was privileged to get an information from one ex-armed robber who happens to be a pastor now, a well-known international armed robber in Nigeria. He's a pastor now in Nigeria, and he said something, and I quote, he said, while he was succeeding his exploit those days, he took advantage of the vulnerabilities of our borders. And that is just the truth. Now you can see after the war in Libya and the happenings in Sudan, most people migrated into the country. And our border security was so porous in the sense that a lot of migrants took opportunity of our vulnerabilities. And the reason why they took that opportunity is that there is fighting going on in Maiduguri, there's fighting going on in Yobe, and Zamfara issue has also came on board. It's really worrisome. And now they have taken it to the president's hometown. Today, the president called up the service chief, was it yesterday or today? And he has given them a drastic order, a serious order to terminate all this issue. Because the military, on their own part, they are looking at it in a form that they don't want to go into intensive, aggressive assaults, so that the human rights will not come aboard and start saying XYZ. Yeah, but I believe in the military, they did a very good job yesterday or 2 days back in Zamfara, dissipating about 8 insurgent camps. The situation is really worrisome. And in Katsina, for instance now, the state governor Masari is worried about the situation, and he has said that some people are being kidnapped right in their homes. That is a very, very big situation, because most of these conflict entrepreneurs now, they have taken advantage of our vulnerabilities. They knew we are not effective enough in putting insecurity applications in place, because here in Nigeria, what we do, we are responsive. We go after the loss instead of going before the loss. And that's what security entails. When we talk about crime prevention, we have to go before the loss, not after the loss. And if we go after the loss, damages must have been incurred at that period of time, and loss of lives and property must have taken shape that period of time. So the state governor now needs to relax, have a meeting with the security team in board, because the way we are approaching security in this country is not we don't plan it. You know, there's a statement that when disasters strike, the time to prepare has passed. When all this incident is taking place, when Zamfara was being hit, Maiduguri and other northern parts are being hit, other states are being relaxed. For you to take opportunity of incident taking place in other states, you need to plan. Even Lagos State, we need to start planning, putting in security applications in place, responsive measures in place, so that peradventure, when disasters strike, we will not be thinking of planning.
I'll put a pin on that and come back because I have some more questions. But Ugo, we see a trend. The governors seemingly showing that they're somewhat overwhelmed. They're crying for help. They're asking the federal government. And one would wonder, what about the security? Because every state has a security apparatus of some sort. And again, some of these issues start as tiny skirmishes, maybe communal clashes or one thing here or there. How come we never ever nip these things in the bud until they escalate to the point that it is right now? I think
it's important that we note that, like Dixon rightly said, we live in a country where we are good at being reactive. With everything our leadership has been designed over the years to be reactive. Zamfara didn't just start this year. We had incidents in Zamfara last year. We had incidents in Katsina last year. All right. The first time I think the governor of Borno went to the presidency to cry, it was sometime last year. That was when these issues when these issues started, that came to the national limelight. So my point is this. All right. What is happening in Zamfara cannot be fixed with a drastic order. It's easy for the president to just fly in from Jordan or Dubai or wherever he's coming from and say, go and fix this. No, you don't do that. All right. There is no country over the last few years that have used the drastic order to solve their security challenges. All right. You talk about intelligence report. You talk about intelligence gathering. You talk about working with the communities, the host communities themselves, to fix some of these issues. All right. We're talking about, like, for example, like Zamfara and Katsina. All right. I've been privileged to travel to Katsina. I've not been to Zamfara before, but we're talking about places that the land mass is huge. A lot of these places are ungoverned spaces. That's number one. Then number two, you have the issue of banditry. You have the issue of, like you said, porous borders, and it's not just about the military.
But is that just the job of the president? Because as much as the governors are asking the presidency to do something, well, yeah, maybe because these security apparatuses, I hope I'm correct, only answer to the power at the center. Maybe that is why. I'm just saying. But what are you doing as the man at the helm of affairs in that enclave? What are you doing to reach out to the people in those areas who can actually help you to deal with the issue before we can even bring force in?
See, the thing is this, right? When APC came in 2015, let's flashback, all right? Then we had issues about security in this country. It was prominent. It was at the center stage. It was part of the thing that drove the conversation in 2015. They made some promises, all right? The part of the cardinal point of the administration then that they planned to achieve was security, all right, economy and one other thing I can't remember at this point.
Which is also talking about corruption.
Corruption, yes. But our focus is on security. And the issue is this: from 2015 up to now, there has been no reforms in terms of fixing our security architecture. As a country, the security architecture of this country is broken.
Well, the president will make that excuse. I don't know if it's an excuse, but he will tell you that in his administration they have recruited more policemen to help with the number of policemen in the country.
Nigeria as a country the police force is understaffed. We don't have enough manpower. So that's not the recruiting. Are you recruiting them are you training them to today's reality, to international standards of today? Is it the same policemen that cannot stand, they are not fit? So I don't understand. So, but the thing is this. The problem with this country is that we miss every crisis moment. All right. If we can sit back at this point, it's not yet too late. If we can sit back at this point, drive a conversation, all right, start mapping out the next security architecture for this country for the next 20, 30 years. Because the issue is this: we're having issues of migration, we're having issues of border, we're having issues of small arms proliferation. Like he said, after the crisis in Libya, you have Niger that is close to some of these northern states. All right, you have a large influx of small arms into this place. I know what's going to happen after Zamfara and Katsina. I'm telling you here, and I'll still come back and repeat it again. The next crisis hotbed will be the North Central, because what's happening right now is that in Zamfara and in Katsina, you see the banditry and the headers. They kill cows, they kill livestock and the rest of them. So all these headers now will try and find their way back to the North Central. And when it comes back again, now we still have more issues. So the thing is this: it's not about sending soldiers. It's fine to do that, but what are they doing with other security agencies? Like you talk about the immigration officers. You talk about the people who are in charge of borders. These are the conversations we're supposed to be having right now, and this is what the president is supposed to be driving with his guys. And also, most importantly, the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Right? They should be letting Nigeria know this is what we're doing and every other thing. If they can't do that, I don't think they can fix it just by giving out orders.
Back to you, Osaje. He made a point which you also made, and I want to go back to that. We're very reactionary. Whether it be security, whether it be emergencies, we're very reactionary. We never ever think 10 steps ahead of whatever it is. We don't pre-plan. Hence the reason why we have these kind of issues. I mean, let's use Itafaji, for example. We know that there's so many houses that are built wrongly, but we did not take the measures early enough until what happened. Exactly. I'm trying to understand, why is it so difficult for us in this country to be proactive? Especially when it comes to issues that have to do with security of human lives.
Nigerian lives don't matter to our leaders. Nigerian lives don't matter to our leaders, and it's very, 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 very sad. Because looking at Zamfara, for example, in between 2010, 11, when the incident transpired, the incident began between the headers and the farmers' clashes. The state governor himself and the government of the day, they just look at it until it started generating. The issue of our borders, when you look at the immigration service are not well staffed, because the immigration service are supposed to be in charge of our border patrol, because there are 8 divisions in the immigration service, that is 8 directorates, and one of the directorates in the immigration service is the border management. Now look at immigration, for example. Statistics as of a few years ago shows that immigration service are up to 25,000. Now, if every one of us as a Nigerian stretch our hands like this, as strides, to surround this country, we can't surround this country. If 180 million people bring their hands this way to surround Nigeria, they can't surround this country. To tell you the landmarks of this country, we are about 923,000 square kilometers large. Now, it is quite regrettable that we have about 1,410 illegal entry points where smugglers come into this country. And I told you about the story about the Nigerian repented armed robber.
Yeah.
So now, if we want to do something very properly, we need to go back to the drawing board, because we are not managing our security agency properly. In every little thing, we bring out our military. In every little thing, we bring out our military. Now, like those days when we were growing up, you know, before you bring out your strengths, you must have exhausted all avenues before you bring out your most strength. In every little thing, we are bringing out our military, and that is why our military has been exposed to numerous dangers and activities, and there's no pride in the military again, because if anything happens, you want to bring in soldiers, people say, and they're even taking the attack to the soldiers. I told you, for instance, when I was in Cross River State ECOM as a soldier, when an incident is happening, for example, in Yako local government, that is in Ugep, right? When we start moving from ECOM, before we get to Four Corners, they've gotten information in Yako that this military are coming. Everybody will take off. That is to tell you how effective the military was as a then. That is to tell you how respectable the military was. So
you're saying that we've demystified
the military. Yeah, we have. Because imagine in election, we brought out all the army, and I saw a Nigerian Air Force jet. In election, we are using Air Force jet. If a jet takes off from here and something is happening in Lekki, the jet will be in Benin. It will just be in Benin. It just will arrive Benin before you can even see what's happening. Why are we using a jet? We are mismanaging our military, and that is just the truth. I was on online live yesterday from Beijing, China, and I was speaking with the interviewer. And they were trying to ask me, what is the problem? Why is it that the military government, the Nigerian government are not doing so well in tackling this issue? How can we be losing more lives and nobody cares? Because what everybody cares in this country is their stomach. Nobody believes they will die one day in this country. And I don't think, like me, each day I wake up, I knew I am getting closer to the grave. And that is putting me on check and making me to understand that this life we're just passing by. But our leaders don't have that in their mind. Now, coming back to Katsina, for instance, what they need to do now is for them to relax. You see, in fighting terrorism, our military needs to understand one fact. Military might cannot defeat terrorism. There's nowhere in the world you can use military might to defeat terrorism. And that is why they need to know. And I'm trying to send a message to the presidency. They are making a mistake to think that military might can defeat terrorism. It's a big mistake.
So many intelligent security experts like you, many trained in so many, places across the world. And I don't want to believe that we do not have these people also working with the National Security Council.
Yeah, the problem
is the problem not taking those advice or consultations that, whatever it is, the ideas that these people are sending in the direction of the presidency, or is it that we're finding it very difficult to, I don't know, implement it? I'm trying to understand, yeah.
See, it's important that you understand, all right? See, no country or no company can rise above their culture. All right, we're in a country where if there's a new rise of maybe violence within a particular place, you see the special advisors to the president or people that are supposed to know better. All right, will go and tell him that it's your opposition that is working against you. All right, so we're in a country where people politicize everything. They politicize every issue. They politicize everything. There are things that should be sacrosanct. There are things that should be core. The core of us as a country that we shouldn't play with. One of them fundamentally is security. And the rights of people. Because the truth is this, you're talking about Zamfara, all right? Do you think that the military will go into Zamfara at this point and the host community will be willing to work with them? So how are they going to mine intelligence from these communities? It's not possible. The same thing in Katsina. So everything comes down to the level of understanding between the people and the government. There's supposed to be a trust, all right? Government is a social contract. But we don't see that. And at the end of the day also, like he rightly said, the military has no business getting involved in all this. And over the last few years, we've abused it from the days of Obasanjo, sending the military to Zakibia and sending the military to Odi to go and wipe people away. That is not how a sensible country functions. And as it stands at this point, we need to go back to the drawing board. And the truth is that I don't think we're ready to do that because the people at the helm of affairs at this point have what I call the old military mindset, all right? They see things from the same old prism, that this is how it functions. But it's not possible. Even if you look at countries like the United States and the rest of them, they've had issues with war over the last few years, all right? Outside their home country, they've done it in Iraq. There are models that you can learn on how to fix some of these issues. There's a part where the civilian is supposed to work hand in hand with the people. If you don't have that level of trust within these hostile communities, you're not going to make any progress, all right? And for Masari to come out to say that this is what's happening, he doesn't have the trust of his people. And also, most importantly, sorry, let me just add this thing. The police, all right, you're sending a police officer. The Nigerian police force, as it should not be centralized. That is another big problem, all right? There's nothing that concerns Usman that grew up in Zamfara. Then you not send him to come to Bejuleki to come and act as intelligence officer. Usman will not give you any credible intelligence. So first of all, we need to sit back as a country and change our whole
So you're advocating for state police then?
There is need for state police. There is need for local police because at the end of the day, see, these are local issues, all right? Let's, for example, now, they will deploy new police officers, maybe from one particular state, and send them to this state that you don't know what's happening. Some of them are coming for the first time to Zamfara. How are they going to stay there? What are they Harry Potter? They can't do magic.
Okay. Now, I've said this over and over in the weeks before now, talking about this banditry and kidnapping. We never really act on these issues until it hits close to home. Now, in the case of Masari, he's speaking up because his in-law is being affected.
Okay.
And I'm just, because you see, the thing is, and I had some reactions. Some people in River State were complaining that oh, Kolade Johnson was killed in Lagos, and immediately the president spoke about it, and the whole world is speaking about it. But SARS officers are killing more people in River State and harassing many more, and it never makes the news. So again, are we prioritizing the wrong things?
No, you see, Kolade Johnson, that's why we thank God for the media. If not for media, Nigeria would have been in war. Nigeria would have gone to war for a very long time. Just let me tell you the truth. And the media have a wrong role to play, and I want to appreciate you guys for bringing the information at the appropriate time to our doorsteps. Because Kolade Johnson would have been swept under the carpet if not for that reaction by the people of that vicinity. And the police officer that carried out that action is not even the only person that has been doing that in this country. Because I've seen police officers that a little thing you talk, they'll say, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to kill you. And I told you guys the last time I came here, I said in the military, when you tell somebody I'm going to shoot you, and when you cock your rifle, and you didn't shoot that person, you will be dismissed and jailed. And you might even be executed by the court martial. See, the problem we're having in this country is leadership. Are you with me? If the president cried on Kolade Johnson, he cried just because the international community are aware of what went wrong between that guy, and I learned it was an accidental discharge. How is it an accidental discharge?
Is there any such thing as an accidental discharge?
There is no accidental discharge. You see, the rifle, let's take for example the Kalashnikov, that is the handheld Kov.
A pistol?
No, the Kalashin. Okay. It's not the pistol. The Kalashnikov, you see, we need to, first of all, start training most of the security agencies on how to handle that Kalashnikov. When you look at it...
Is that not why you go to a police training school?
Yes, some of them just go through and just come out. You see, like when you look at the Kalashnikov, there's what we call the aperture. And there is a settings there whereby you can set your range. There was a time I was coming, I saw a police officer, my eye just went through the aperture, and I saw the range was on 900 meters. You don't put that range, you can only put that range when you are in the war front so that you can get your enemy at 900 meters. Now, when you look at this 900 meters now, if, for example, a police officer wants to have an accidental discharge, the bullet will fly from here to like Uzumba, like to the end of this regali, 900 meters. Just take, for example, 900 meters. So when we are within a peaceful environment, you need to bring back that setting to like 100 meters or 150 meters in the sense that you have any accidental discharge, it will not travel faster than what you expected. The Kolade Johnson issue is that the policeman exhibited an intentional discharge. There is nothing like accidental discharge. Accidental discharge is only admissible in the war front. Like, for example, during the Bakassi War, you can keep your gun ready. Because why are you keeping your gun ready? In any eventuality, the enemy might come. Or maybe you are advancing to contact the enemy, or you are advancing and there's what we call advanced to contact and advanced in contact. Or you in contact in the enemy, you just open fire. That means your gun was already ready. Now, in peaceful environment, you're not supposed to put your gun on the ready because you're in a peaceful time. You're within the peaceful confine of a peaceful entity. So that police officer, I think he has been dismissed. So I heard, and the appropriate punishment should be meted on him. Now, what happened is what we call specific deterrence. He's paying for what he has done. That's what we call specific deterrence. Now, other police officers who had what went wrong, they will have to learn from that. That's what we call general deterrence. So they will use that guy to send a general deterrence. Will
they? Because recently another video, quickly, we have just 1 minute, another video surfaced where a police officer was harassing someone on a bus going to somewhere in Delta, that he was using an iPhone X, that he's worked in the service for almost 6 years or 16 years. He's not been able to afford that phone, so it means he's a thief. Step out of the vehicle, bring your bag. And that's how that young man was taken out of a vehicle. Maybe he was going back to school or something. So I don't really know if they learn because, yeah, they'll just say, well, it was his bad luck. I mean, Ugo.
Well, I don't think they learn, all right? And I think, like, for me, like I said, when I talked about ramping the police, the security architecture, we need to disengage some police officers. They need to go home, all right? Because at the end of the day, some of them do this thing the way they're like, this is not the first time. We've had police officers kill people repeatedly over the last few years, and they keep on doing it, all right? So it's not encouraging, and there's no excuse for it.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you very much, gentlemen. Unfortunately, we don't have too much time. Dixon Osaje, security expert, and Ugochukwu Ikeko, political analyst. Thank you, gentlemen, for speaking. I'm hoping that we don't have to be here next month, the month after, talking about the same issue. Unfortunately, we still do have to talk about it this whole week. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.
Thank you.
We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll be looking at parties and their warring factions. Stay with us. Still Plus Politics.